Christmas comes a little early from these Eastern teams because, my goodness, 2 of these we for sure probably should not have won. Absolutely losing your freaking mind! Just for funsies. This is the season! Excellent asset management. No. What? So many injuries. Jack Eichel? Better late than never?
Better late than never.
Go, Knights, go! Go, Knights, go!
3 games, not quite done with the road trip yet, but from Washington to Ottawa, so one capital to the other one. I wonder if that was planned or thought of when they were making the schedule. Really outplayed us, and yet Vegas Golden Knights win 5-4 against the Ottawa Senators. I don't have any Ottawa Senators related anything. If they have a Dodonov jersey, that would be funny that I would. Minute and 22 seconds into the first. Thomas Chabot, what are you doing? Pulls the puck from his goalie's pad and sends it straight back out to Mark Stone, who snipes it. 1-0 Vegas. Forsberg is good. He did not have a good game though. And to be fair, Logan Thompson, well, we'll get there. Oh no, we're going there because this is the worst goal I've seen Logan Thompson allow in his career. Claude Giroux from the other side of the blue line, just kind of trying to dump it in, and the puck bounces over Logan Thompson's pad and he's not able to grab it, so it's a tie game 1-1. And that's a dang it. I'm gonna see that probably before this video is posted. Vegas goes to a power play, and it's this really, really cool play where Carlson is like super reaching for that puck, and he's able to grab it and sends it back over to Riley Smith, who's charging again from that short side, and he's able to grab it. Wide open net, bang it home. It's 2-1 Vegas. Our power play, wow. Yeah, it's still something to get used to as a Vegas Golden Knight fan, that your power play can actually work. At the end of the first, Jake Sanderson overskates the puck trying to leave his defensive zone, and Jack Eichel's right there and he's able to grab it, skate over to the boards, and then sends it over to White Cloud. White Cloud, just playing up, sends it over to Stone, who sends it back to White Cloud, and he scores his first of the season. And it's 3-1 Vegas. It was funny because White Cloud's like on the ground, but he's celebrating, and he gets, before he even gets up, high fives Mark Stone. Love our captain and how expressive he is. It's just contagious. Vegas did get a second power play goal, but it was offsides by barely anything. Stevenson wasn't able to drag his foot back enough before Eichel was able to enter the zone. It was a ridiculous 30-something seconds later. And if you're gonna call a goal back 30 seconds, like, that defeats the entire purpose of the offsides reviews. The letter of the law versus the spirit of law, and this completely wrecks the spirit of that law. But 3-1, it's not like that's gonna matter, right? Vegas is just gonna go away with it. And I mean, they tried to. Ottawa's on the power play, and Vegas scores a shorthanded goal. Stützle passes it while falling to the ground straight to Nick Waugh. That's not your teammate. Waugh now has a partial breakaway 2-on-1 with Chandler Stevenson against Chabot, and it's a 2-on-1. So Nick Waugh is able to, you know, draw Chabot away, gets it over to Stevenson, who outweights Forsberg and goes backhand straight into the goal. 4-1 Vegas. Not quite done for Forsberg because of known elite scorer William Carrier. He literally just goes straight for the puck with DeBrincat, who's really, really good, I might add. But he just completely muscles off DeBrincat, which that's not hard to do given DeBrincat's size, but DeBrincat's still an elite player. And Carrier grabs it, scores it past Forsberg, and it's 5-1 Vegas, about 4 halfway through the game. You know, I was like, this is good, this is fun. They pull out Forsberg, put in Cam Talbot for his Ottawa Senators debut, and I'm not taken back to that first series against the Minnesota Wild back in the playoffs 2 years ago. A couple minutes later in the second, Ottawa again on the power play because, yeah, can't keep giving them power plays because otherwise it's going to happen. After the power play ends, the puck is sent over back to Giroux, who's able to snipe it past Thompson. And I mean, Thompson, he had that one ugly goal, but he's had a good game so far. And the 2 goals are from Claude Giroux, who's an amazing player, right? So, like, that's it, 5-2. And, you know, then why do we keep letting them score? Dying minutes of the second. Kachuk has a 2-on-1 and he shoots it on, and Thompson makes the initial save, but the rebound goes straight to Stützle, is able to pound it home for its 5-3. Vegas to Ottawa, and can we stop letting them score, please? Howden with a really bad turnover to start the third about 3 minutes in, and Tim Stützle grabs it, and they have a tic-tac-toe play. Tim Stützle scores, making it 5-4. And guys, we face the Toronto Maple Leafs on Tuesday. We don't need to see this choke job yet because it's going to be them. And I swear we won this game by the skin of our teeth. I was not calm the entire last 5 minutes of that game because Ottawa they outshot us 40-something to 20-something. And Logan Thompson had a .913 save percentage despite allowing 4, which is the first time this season that the Vegas Golden Knights have allowed more than 3 goals in a game. And it felt like that was going to be the case halfway through the second, like when they got the third goal. I was like, yeah, Ottawa's probably going to score one more, but like that was just very close for comfort. Nick Holden and Eric Brandstrom, it's good to see them. Mark Stone killing the Senators because former teams, you know? Speaking of first round picks that we sent the other way for goal scorers, we head to Montreal to face off against Nick Suzuki, which we don't have anyone from that trade anymore, so and one of the coolest nicknames in hockey, Wi-Fi, because his name, it looks like a password for Wi-Fi. To be honest, I'm not really sure what I was expecting from Montreal because, I mean, they're not great, but they're also, like, not bad. They have Slafkovsky and, you know, Nick Suzuki, and he's playing against us, so he's probably going to score 2. Cole Caulfield, Kirby Dach, which that was a confusing trade. Anyway, opening the scoring for the Vegas Golden Knights, Nick Hague with the first Hager bomb of the season. He just, you know, bombed it and it went in, and it's 1-0 Vegas. Less than a minute later, Kirby Dach streams in, he's got the puck, he sends it over to Caulfield with a beautiful pass, and Caulfield snipes it past Adin Hill to tie the game 1-1. And then, extremely similar to his goal last game, Riley Smith nets one to make it 2-1, except this time it's not on the power play, it's on the 5-on-5 even strength. William Karlsson has the puck, streams in, tosses it over to Riley Smith, who just taps it in. 2-1 Vegas. And then we enter the third, and the game completely changes because scoring went from about a 4 maybe up to a 12.5. Martinez sends a shot on, it's blocked, and it bounces straight to Kirby Dach, and he and Suzuki go racing for a 3-on-1. And Kirby Dach sends it over to Suzuki, who snipes it past Adin Hill to tie the game 2-2. I don't know what Adin Hill was supposed to do there. There's a C right there. Yeah, no, not Suzuki jersey, but you know, the captain of Montreal scored because Vegas has had the last 3 Montreal captains at some point in their organization, even though 2 of them won't have played for them. Vegas on the power play a couple of minutes later because Theodore over to Kessel across the ice, who then sends it on, and Riley Smith with the perfect tip. It's 3-2 Vegas, and things get a little interesting from here on out because, well, before we get to that, Hager bomb assist! He blasts it from the point, and it's tipped in by none other than Keegan Kolesar for his second of the season to make it 4-2 Vegas. And then the interesting thing happens. Just kidding, because Vegas, again, scores with a pass from Kolesar over to Waugh, who nets one past Jake Allen to make it 5-2 Vegas. Nick Waugh goal in his home place. Now the interesting happens, which after 2 points from King Kolesar, I don't know how significant this is. Anyway, Josh Anderson with a really, really dangerous and bad hit on Alex Pietrangelo and sends him headfirst into the boards. The Vegas Golden Knights leap on him like Jonathan Marchessault leapt on the other guy earlier, like a spider monkey. Very dangerous. We do not want that in the league. He had time. I know that he had committed to the check beforehand, and Petro did turn, but he's turning to try to grab the puck. If Petro can turn there, then Josh Anderson can also turn away in the same amount of time. Like, he could have very easily avoided that, and he did get suspended 2 games for this. So the NHL Player Safety Department, DOPS, handing out 2-game suspensions to Tkachuk, Anderson, and then Slafkovsky, I think, got one as well. But despite all of this, Montreal goes to a power play for this. Please explain to me. And I get Vegas kind of jumped on Montreal after that. How on earth did Montreal get a power play out of this? Josh Anderson has boarding and then a game misconduct. And Alec Martinez and Pietrangelo both get roughing against Josh Anderson. I'm dumbfounded. I've been struck dumb by the fact that the Montreal Canadiens got a power play because Josh Anderson did something that caused a 2-game suspension, which arguably could have been more. Guess what happens on the power play? Nick Suzuki scores! And it's now a 5-3 game, and you're like, I mean, what a shot from Suzuki. It shouldn't have been a power play for Montreal. It could have been a power play for Vegas. Vegas on the power play, and Eichel with a beautiful pass over to Marchessault, who one times this past Allen, I think it still is, to make it 6-3 Vegas, which, you know, is great. I'm still rattled about the other thing happening. Uri Slafkovsky gets another one to make it 6-4 off of a rush from the Canadiens, and that's how it's gonna end. The Vegas Golden Knights win 6-4. I'm just glad Petro's okay. Moving on, we won. Let's just move on. The player against Toronto again. And like I alluded to earlier, I mean, I guess it wasn't really a choke, but this was a gift for the Vegas Golden Knights because they very much should not have even been close in this game. Vegas Golden Knights win against the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime. And all 3 of Vegas's regulation goals were off of turnovers from the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the first minute of the game, Rasmus Sandin fumbles the puck and gives it over to Carrier, who streams in, has an opportunity on their 3rd string goalie, Shalgren, not spelled that way at all. Kolzar has an opportunity to drive home the rebound, but misses. And Nick Waugh doesn't, making it 1-0 Vegas in the first minute of the game, which apparently, according to Steve Dangle, the Leafs have done more than once every 3 games. They're on pace for 17 in the season. That's a fun statistic. I'm so glad I'm not a Maple Leafs fan. A couple of minutes later, though, Toronto answers back with a goal of their own from Timothy Liljegren. There's a J in there. Beautiful feed from, I think it was oh my goodness, guys. 2 other notable things happened in the first. Nylander takes a slapper, which apparently he doesn't do very often. Goes straight off of Logan Thompson's mask, and they did a little cute bro moment where he's like, hey, you good? Yeah, okay, cool. And then let's kick it off. And then the other notable thing was Jack Eichel scored a goal off the stick of Liljegren. I'm gonna butcher that so many times this video, aren't I? Yeah, Liljegren tries to pass it out of the defensive zone, and Eichel intercepts this really, really easily, sends it over to Stone. Stevenson, I think both of them had it for a minute, but the goal ends up going to Eichel, who nails it past Shalgren to make it 2-1 Vegas going into the second period. Shalgren looked decent. I think in Toronto Maple Leafs fans' eyes, he looked a lot better than he probably actually was, because in the second period, there were a couple of stops that he made that were on William Carrier and Kolzar, which when they're streaming in all alone, I'm not expecting anything to happen anyway. Whereas probably for Maple Leafs fans, they were like, because they don't know who those 2 people are. And no offense against them, I love them. I love what they bring. Carrier's forechecking is impeccable. Kolzar is an all-around really good, solid hitting guy. They find chances, they just don't bear it. They literally scored last game, both of them did. But the second period kind of stunk really bad for the Vegas Golden Knights because Toronto Maple Leafs score. Mitch Marner, that was a nasty goal. The way he was able to battle through Vegas Golden Knights and then turned and sniped it from the opposite side, short side. And it was really, really sick. A reverse hit from Marchessault, which is funny, on, I think it was Zach Aston-Reese. An absolute A-plus pass from Shea Theodore to Riley Smith. And then to close out the second, the Leafs absolutely hemmed Nick Waugh and the rest of the Golden Knights in the defensive zone for a minute and a half. And Waugh, they were talking about it on the broadcast, he looked absolutely winded. Speaking off the stick of Timothy Liljegren, Mitch Marner with a beautiful pass over to Liljegren, who slaps this past Thompson to give the Maple Leafs the 3-2 lead. And I'm going into the third thinking, oh my goodness, like this is fun. This is fun hockey. and we're losing, and that's okay. The Toronto Maple Leafs seem to be finding a groove, even though they're their third string goaltender in net. But that's okay. Like, we have our third string goaltender in net technically too. He's become our starter, but you know, things happen sometimes. The Maple Leafs did a really good job in the third period. They honestly, like, we could not really get much going, and the time just kept winding down faster and faster, and then we gave the Maple Leafs power play, so there's 2 minutes gone, right? No, because we have William Karlsson and Riley Smith. I don't even know what happened. William Nylander just kind of laid out for the puck. Riley Smith has the puck after that, all alone with William Karlsson and Morgan Riley. And it's a 2-on-1. Mitch Marner comes in pretty fast and is almost able to get there in time, but not in time enough. And Karlsson back to Smith, scores it past Shelgren to make it 3-3, tie game. The screen may have said that it was assisted by Shea Weber, but we know it was not. I didn't realize you can make an assist from LTIR. The game kind of settles in. Both of the teams take like a gentleman's handshake and agree that they're just gonna go into overtime, so each team gets a point. Overtime! And I'm thinking, okay, let's see Eichel get the game-winning goal, except as I'm saying it, it's not even 30 seconds in, and Vegas with an A+ pass from Theo to Smith. Where have I seen that before in this game? And Smith this time buries it past Shelgren to make it 4-3. Vegas Golden Knights win, and what a game. And with that, Vegas has won now officially in every single building that's active in the NHL. Like, we probably shouldn't have won 2 of the 3 games that we did, but we did, and now we have 6, 7, and 8 wins in a row. And this is the best start in franchise history. This is a great way. We're at the top of the league, atop of the Western Conference in the standings, and it's just fun. And I know that we're probably not going to be able to continue this pace, but if we go 500 the rest of the season, we're still going to end up with 100 points. And the way that we're playing, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go 500 the rest of the season. That's just kind of how important good starts are, and we've had a great start. Mark Stone, how do you feel about winning 8 games in a row? Ah, yes, I see that. That's his reaction to Riley Smith ending it 30 seconds in overtime. Up next, game 15 against the Buffalo Sabres. So Jack Eichel's second game back in Buffalo since the trade, which happened 1 year ago in between the Ottawa and the Montreal game. And looking at the statistics for Tuch, Krebs, and Eichel, which are not the only 3 pieces of that trade, but Tuch and Krebs both have scored combined more than Eichel has, but Eichel had a broken thumb for a lot of the last portion of the season, all like the last 18 games or something. And yeah, like this is, it's gonna be, the trade has worked out for both sides. I hope that Tuch has a good game on Thursday, tomorrow. I really hope Eichel has a good game. Should be fun either way, right? Anyways, it's gonna be it for today's nightly review for games 12, 13, and 14. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night.